Hi, welcome back into Tuesday Topics and Tidbits. We are glad to be with you chatting all things Disney and Universal. I'm Catherine Ritchie. This is Jennifer McCormick. She is sharing. Hi, welcome back into Tuesday Topics and Tidbits. We are glad to be with you. I'm having a little it's a Tuesday for sure. If you could hear our YouTube playing just right then, but I know.
I apologize. That was all me. I'm like, what's going on?
No. There's a lot happening. So welcome in. We are
today.
Actually, not a lot of news and updates tonight, and then diving right into our topic. So we're excited to chat about that. We haven't chatted really packing and shoes and things that we talk about a lot in a while. So we'll be doing that. Before we launch into that, if you are new here, welcome in. We love you hitting that thumbs up so we know that you're watching. If you are not yet subscribed, we appreciate you doing that. Hit that bell icon so that you're notified when we go live or anytime that we add a new video. That just helps us share more content with everyone out there. That's our goal, is to be sharing tips and tidbits and topics and everything to make your Disney or Universal vacation even better. So if you're here, feel free to jump on and comment, say hello. Chime in as we're talking about topics. We love that as well.
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions too. Happy to answer questions from the chat. Celebrations, anything fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything like that. We love the interaction and that makes it more fun. Even if you're watching later on, feel free to comment. We see those all the time.
Yeah. Well, luckily there hasn't been a ton of news this week, but I think the big one that I can't even remember exactly which day this happened, but we learned that the Disney Wish, the new Disney cruise ship, was slated to set sail for the first time, I think the second week in June. And unfortunately, because of COVID and, delayed progress on the ship, they had to delay that their inaugural sailing, I think 12 different sailings. And so there are lots of folks who are rescheduling right now. Luckily, everyone who was on that inaugural sailing was automatically moved to the new inaugural sailing. But we've got a lot of folks now who are looking to book the Wish. So big news. I almost can't believe that it happened, because it just seems like one of those things where they wanted to be prepared. It's a brand new ship, but those dates were pushed back. Selfishly, mine weren't impacted. So instead of being on, the 20-something-ish sailing, I was somewhere around 12 or 13th sailing now. So
I know. So we hadn't heard rumblings. Of course, there hadn't been a lot of updates. So, I guess in the big scheme of things, not surprised if you're in any kind of work or the world, there's supply chain issues and staffing issues, and like anything, Disney's going to make sure everything, all the talk about those T's crossed and those I's dotted to make sure it's perfect. So, yes, so we have a lot of our fellow agents as well working to rebook for, families that had been booked, and of course disappointing, but lots of lead time in trying to get them rebooked on another.
Yeah. Well, and those folks who are on the sailings that were canceled are able to book a next sailing 50% off. So big deal.
So lining for sure. So obviously an inconvenience, obviously for a lot of people, they don't have flexible travel plans, but the fact that if you can move it and to be half off and a long time to rebook too. So nice, but yeah, it's disappointing, of course, but just makes that anticipation even better that it's coming soon.
Yeah. Otherwise, oh gosh, what other real news have we gotten this week? Disney World and Disneyland announced that they are continuing to celebrate Black History Month with the Celebrate Soulfully celebration that started last year. I believe they've done different things for Black History Month, but I don't remember it branded as Celebrate Soulfully until last year. So there's entertainment, so different music and art and live performances. a whole bunch going on at both Disney World and Disneyland, specifically in downtown Disney at Disneyland and then Disney Springs at Disney World.
Right. Right.
And of course, they have special merch and like everything.
Yeah. So if you're traveling during that time, that's again just another perk of what's happening. So look out for that entertainment as well, and well known, acts too. So that's exciting. Yeah, but particularly I'd say downtown Disney, which is the area surrounding Disneyland in California. There's a lot happening there, which is exciting.
Right.
Look forward to that as well.
Oh, and food. I should mention food.
Yeah,
I was scrolling through. I'm like, yeah, of course, cooking with soul. Yeah.
Things we thoroughly enjoy. So we will just mention those too.
Right.
Universal and Disney also kind of celebrating Mardi Gras as well, which is, starts March 1st as well. But the celebration actually year round, if you're visiting Disney World and you're staying at Port Orleans Resort and especially French Quarter, super cute theming. If you follow us on Instagram, you saw we posted about the cute statues. I love that resort. It's so fun. Is that where you're staying?
We're staying there in June for my daughter's birthday. So this year we're celebrating both of my girls' birthdays at Disney. One's on a cruise and one's at Disney World because they're not spoiled or anything. But yeah, we're staying at French Quarter. She picked French Quarter, so I'm pretty excited.
I like it.
Beignet for your birthday. Why not?
For real.
Yeah, it's charming. It's just such a lovely property that I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah, and it's a moderate level resort for those who don't know, and has a smaller feel to it. It's a smaller footprint. You get the perks of not being far from Riverside as well. But if I'm working with a family that they want a moderate, but they don't want necessarily a huge resort. So French Quarter is a great compromise for that too, because you're getting those amenities, but again, in a much smaller landscape as well. So that's why there's all types of properties and amenities. So it just depends what's important to you and what really matters when you're looking too.
Well, and the boat to Disney Springs is lovely. It's just a nice way to hop on the ferry and head on down to Disney Springs and enjoy everything that's available there too. It's about a 20-minute ride or so. Not too bad, but really enjoyable.
Yeah, it's true. It's a nice break as well. And kids love that. And it's just a fun way to arrive at Disney Springs. So for both of the Port Orleans resorts, that is an option.
Yeah. Well, and something else that we love about the Port Orleans resorts, and I almost forgot to mention, is that the horse-drawn carriage rides are returning today, even maybe it's like this week or sometime really soon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that the kids loved when they were younger. They don't leave from French Quarter, they leave from Riverside, but it's a nice 30-minute horse-drawn carriage ride, and it's a great way to spend an evening. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So those fun little add-ons are available too. So again, those things keep coming back, which are great.
And not expensive either.
No, I think it's pretty nominal, honestly, to have, if you're looking for that extra activity or a down day activity, that's a great thing as well. So that's very charming. I like both those properties.
Very fun.
Universal didn't have a lot of news. We did see Hard Rock Hotel is going to be going under some renovations as well, that's always a good thing. We love updates and things like that. But one thing we wanted to mention, we are going to be at Universal and under a month now. Very exciting. So we're agents with Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel. So we're going to be joining about 35 of our Let's Adventure Travel colleagues, which is really exciting for an agent trip. So we can learn more. We'll be streaming as much as we can, and we'll look forward to really reporting back on what's new. We're going to do some resort tours and be at the parks for 3 days, and it'll be great. So
I can't wait. And I feel like I need more room tours. And, I started visiting before I really started making videos. And so I know in my mind's eye what everything looks like, but I don't have great videos. And so I'm really excited to get into some of those spaces and be able to provide everyone, with videos of those rooms that they can always pull up and take a look at.
So helpful. It is. I mean, it just really helps you. You can look at pictures and things like that, but So if you haven't explored our YouTube channel, if you are or know anyone thinking about a Disney and Universal trip, there's so many great resources there. And it's a great way to really get a feel for a resort or a room or a park. So we have a lot on there as well.
I know. And I really hope, no promises, but my goal is to be able to live stream Volcano Bay. And so that's the water park. And so I really want to have the opportunity to do that. And so hopefully if it's not too hot, I can get there early in the day. That's the plan, because I learned last summer that there's no live streaming with, technology in the middle of a hot day. My gimbal died a couple of times. I was trying to live stream around the Polynesian because, I wasn't able to get out before somewhere around 11 or noon, and that's too late. So as long as the weather cooperates, that's my goal, to show off a little bit more Volcano Bay, because it's a great park. I think folks are interested in learning more about it. And I'm, so excited to have that opportunity. So that's the plan. That's one of my plans.
Yes.
One of those days is to have that there.
So we're excited about that. So that's coming up for us in March. But before that, Jennifer will be running through Disney World. Soon.
Yeah, that's right. We are doing that, aren't we?
You are. You're still doing it as far as I know. Yeah.
My life has just been insane, and the kids have so much going on. My girls are Irish dancers. And so, 'tis the season. They have their big show the weekend before. So it's one of those, everything's just going quickly to get to that point.
That's true. End of the month.
End of the month. Yeah. The 25th is when we are heading out, 25th in the morning. And then, so that's a Friday. We'll be to the expo probably that day. The expo is where you pick up your race bib and t-shirts and get all that good stuff. And then we'll have Saturday, to get our bearings and relax a little bit. And then Sunday, really early in the morning, is when the race takes place. It starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so the buses from the resorts to the race start at 2:30 in the morning, which is really the middle of the night. Yeah. So we'll see what I can share from that. And I have some plans, but again, it depends on the weather and, what that looks like. I'm not running with a gimbal. Sorry, not going to live stream the race. That's just dangerous.
You're very dedicated, but yeah, that's a lot. So.
Right. People have done it. Or have at least recorded a good number of it. I might try to see if I can hop on Facebook and, be live for a few minutes here or there. It's really going to depend on, how my technology is functioning at that time and how I'm functioning at that time. So all good things. I will definitely be posting. I don't know how much they'll be live and how much will, be pictures in the moment and all that fun stuff. But yeah, we're definitely
coming too. So that's exciting.
One more long run for our training run, and then hope we're ready. Right.
A lot of adrenaline running into Disney.
Right. The excitement. Yeah.
So one thing we wanted to mention too at Universal, so the Mardi Gras parades and events and everything that's happening, again, part of your admission for our Universal. So it's a very festive atmosphere. If you've never witnessed it, it is full on the floats, beads throwing, it is a festive atmosphere. So there are ways for you to get onto the float. I'm kind of hoping that might happen to us.
That would be fun.
Me too. But that is something you can do once you're in the park each day to try to get a chance for you and your family to be up on a float. That'd be pretty cool.
Great.
Might make your holiday better.
Yeah, we loved Mardi Gras when we were there. And so, I can't wait to go back and see that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll be able to report on that and again, show you a lot of pictures and images from the entertainment there as well. So,
right.
Not a lot of news. Crazy.
I'll take it. There are some weeks when
we have so much and we really want to share it. And that's why we start out with that, because there's sometimes a lot of updates that are really important for you to know. Right. And some weeks we're really grateful because I feel like the past few weeks we've had a lot of news, or a lot of updates. So we decided tonight our topic is going to be, we get these questions a lot, sometimes not as much in the winter, but kind of 3 prongs of footwear, such a common question. Should I get in shape before I go to Disney? Don't don't ask Jennifer because she's running. So you can ask me. You'll survive. And then what bag should I take into the park? So I think the caveat we start with is Disney and Universal and Disneyland. It's not like going to your typical theme park. You know, you may go to a Cedar Point or Kings Island. That's what's near me, or like, you know, any of the Six Flags, those kind of things. There's a way you can navigate those in not the best footwear, or you just don't have to think about it as much.
Right.
Disney and Universal are really different. And we'll talk about both because what applies for Disney doesn't really apply for Universal in terms of bags. And the agents have been chatting about what we would recommend for Universal is really different. But why don't do you want to start with shoes and footwear and?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I'm happy to also start with, you know, on the realm of that is the getting in shape, because it's really important to be prepared to walk. And even though, you know, we run races and train for that, I find that the hardest part for me is not the race. It's not the moving or not the walking. It's the standing. If you're standing in line for an hour, that's just different on your body. It's different on your back.
Typically, you know, you're not standing on plush carpet or something.
Right. And so, yeah. And so footwear is so important with the, you know, the knowledge that in addition to walking and, you know, just being on your feet quite a bit, is that you'll be standing. I mean, in general, even if you're using Genie Plus, there are some lines that you'll just end up waiting in. You know, I have a friend who was down at Disney World a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was just last week, actually, and used Genie Plus very successfully, but thought, you know what, I'm just going to hop in line for Jungle Cruise. And first time visitor didn't quite realize what that meant. The line doesn't look very long, but ended up standing in line for 2 hours. Yeah, that's a really long time to wait for Jungle Cruise. So we can have that conversation another time. But sometimes you just might be at a place where you're like, I'm just going to pop in the standby line, see what it's like. And it might be longer than you expect. And when you can still be entertained with the apps and, you know, with other fun things that you can have, but you're still standing. And so footwear is so important.
It is. So we should mention, we do have an Amazon store. And the reason, again, that exists is to really give a lot of recommendations. We do get, monetized from it, but it goes right back into what we do here. So you know that we do gift card giveaways and things like that. That's all going back to that. But that exists really that we've tried things. This is what we recommend. It's not an ad for it necessarily, in the sense that we really put out, this is what works for me. And everyone's different. So so funny. It's those basic guidelines of don't wear brand new shoes to the park.
Don't do it. Break them in.
Do it.
You have to walk around your house. Break them in.
And on average, you walk 7 to 8 miles at Disney World. Average. And so that you might think, oh, okay. That can, and I think especially as you get older too, like I could go in different shoes. I cannot now. Like I have to think a little bit more about it too.
Right.
But you definitely want to think about your shoe choice for yourself and your children. I mean, no one needs a tired, cranky kid with bad shoes. And then
the thing there too is, especially, I have got girls, and when they were in their princess phases, they wanted to wear cute shoes. So we spent a lot of time figuring out how to find, sparkly Skechers and things like that, were still fun, princessy shoes and wouldn't be really uncomfortable in the parks after a couple of hours. Cause there's a lot for kids to be cranky about, and I didn't want that to be one of them.
Yeah. So shoes, we have specific ones we like. So there's a lot of people who like, the sneakers, or like you're a runner. We know people who wear their running shoes in. Tevas, there's so many more choices now too. Right. Again, it's like everything, everyone has their opinion, but you do want to put a little thought into it as well. So, again, you don't want to, because everyone knows that's the worst. It's the worst that day, but it's miserable the next day too. Right. And typically you're going to be doing some back-to-back days. So you do want to have refreshed feet for what you're experiencing. So I will say a little tidbit we both say is put your feet in the hot tub when you get back, I mean, you should probably put your whole self in, but if you just want to put your feet in for a bit, that really can help. The other thing is bringing Epsom salts and putting those in the bathtub and just giving, even if you would never do that at home, you think, I just do that. It can be a lifesaver as well. So, because most people are not on their feet that much every single day, unless you have a job like that, which majority of us do not. So all those things are really important as well.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think we can say enough that it's really important that you're prepared prior to the first day, because I can't tell you how many people, said I was fine the first day and then I was garbage. I wore the wrong shoes. They didn't necessarily hurt. And then all of a sudden I couldn't stand on my feet the next day. So, the other piece with that is know your limits. I don't know about you, but it's really hard for me to stop myself or to sit. Truth is, the parks don't have a ton of places to sit when you're not eating. And so strategically think about, when are you going to get those quick service meals or have your dining? And, even if you don't necessarily need to sit, when you're eating, maybe think about taking a little bit longer of a break and,
very true.
Giving yourself, that time to heal a little bit in the middle of the day.
It's true. And again, this is not everyone, but you always see someone that is just not enjoying themselves. And then again, remember, you're at parks. So if you need a new pair of shoes, you're pretty limited on what your choices are.
They have Crocs, but no, they're not.
We know people that have purchased them and been very happy, but know that that's just, you're not hitting a target with lots of choices. You could, but when you're in the moment.
And I do have to say, as a woman with what I consider to be normal big-ish feet, I wear a size 11. They don't have size 11s on property, really. And so you need to be prepared. My daughter wears like a size 12. We just have big feet in my family, but you're not finding that, unfortunately. So be prepared if your feet swell. I do buy tennis shoes that I run in, or will spend a significant amount of time walking in, a size bigger, because your feet swell. And that happens. So be prepared for that too. You might have shoes that work just fine if you walk in them just a little bit or a few blocks here or there, but you are walking miles. Be prepared that your feet are going to swell. You're going to want to have something that has a little give to it and some cushion.
Right. And one thing to think about too, there's quite a few water rides as well. So, there's people with different feelings on that. So sometimes people bring specific shoes to change into for the water rides as well. Depends what time of year you're going. You could get soaked and be dried right out really quickly. But as we all know, wet shoes are not enjoyable either. And then if you're going into something, clearly I'm having very vivid recollection of this, to say that you're going into a show that's strongly air conditioned, your feet, it just won't be enjoyable.
Well, Paul in that comment just said, you always have at least 2 pairs of shoes in case you get stuck in a thunderstorm.
Also true.
Yeah. And that happens. It happens all the time. And tennis shoes especially do not dry very fast. And so, we always are prepared.
Right. And that's the advantage for those if you're still pushing a stroller, you can just shove so much more in there. But I'd always bring extra socks, or you bring that little pair of flip-flops you can wear on the ride and then switch out when you get off. So yes, very good point. So again, it depends how much you're carrying, but if you do not enjoy wet feet, you want to think about that as well. So what is your favorite? Remind me of what you love.
I love Rockport Sandals. And so I put them in the Amazon page because they're not the prettiest sandals, but the soles are really squishy. So originally when they offered these, they were Rockport through New Balance. And so they were actually like tennis shoe soles. And I have the ones that were, branded both, and the ones that are branded just Rockport right now, and they're the same. And so the soles are very much like squishy tennis shoe soles, but they're sandals. And again, they're kind of clunky, they're bigger, but they're great for hot weather. And, I think they look cute-ish for what they are. And then if it rains, I've got sandals that are attached. They've got Velcro around the back, which I think is really nice too, because I don't like flip-flops with wet feet. I mean, you see kids kicking off flip-flops on accident all the time in the rain.
I know.
I'd rather just have my sandals stay on my feet. So
Right. Yeah. Tevas were always mine. And again, I'd say it does not matter what your feet look like. I mean, I think tons of cute shoes out there. In my regular life, love a good cute shoe, but practicality. And I mean, I've had these for like 20 years kind of thing. They are, again, comfortable. They're staying on your foot. It's just, it sounds basic, but these are things that can ruin a trip, quite frankly. So be thinking about that and bringing a couple pairs, or maybe you did wear your sneakers and they got soaked. Well, maybe they're not going to be dry by the next day, but you can bring another pair to have as a backup kind of thing. So yeah, but there's a lot of options in there. We have women's and men's recommendations as well. I think we have some kids ones in there too.
Yeah.
So if there's ones you like, let us know too, because we know it's personal preference, but you just want to be prepared. I've had clients over the years always say, do you have a get in shape plan for Disney, or how do you do that? And, again, harder in the winter, but I think it is nice weather. I mean, and your kids aren't used to walking as far. I mean, I always say, take that walk with them or practice walking away just so they know, because when you think about it, it's not that bad. Well, from where that bus parks to getting into the park to walking in, even if you have a stroller, they're still going to have to do some walking too. So just doing that can make a difference as well.
Right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of folks have step trackers now, and I just say, I know that they say you should get 10,000 steps a day. Really do everything you can to get those 10,000 steps a day. And so, and there have been times where we've just been really sedentary. I mean, especially in the winter, it's easy. It's one of the reasons why I sign up for the races. It forces me not to be sedentary, but that it'll be nice out, and I'll look at the kids and I'm like, well, what can I bribe them with to go for a walk? We've got a Starbucks 2 miles away. So I'm like, let's walk to Starbucks. I'll get you whatever you want and we'll walk back, because that's 4 miles.
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's a way to get started and get out and have some good conversation and bribe the kids to get some.
I will not let my kids wear flip-flops in the park. Like, I still make them, you have to wear sneakers, and my oldest wore sneakers he thought were cooler than he should have worn more of an athletic pair. His feet were tired at the end of the day. Again, even though my kids are athletes and all of that, but again, it's standing on that cement. It's a different feeling. It's a long day.
Yeah.
Feet are tired. And then doing that, 2, sometimes 3 days in a row really does catch up with you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just something to think about. You'll make it even if you think, I'm not in great shape, or you will, but you just want to try to enjoy it a little bit. Plus, it's something to look forward to. To say, okay, we're going in a couple months. We can start kind of working towards this.
Yeah. And the truth is, if you don't, or if you, have difficulty, I've talked to a lot of folks who, are maybe older, or might have some concerns with their knees, or might once in a while use a cane. And the truth is, my recommendation there is get a scooter. If you struggle, sometimes from day to day, you're not exactly sure what to expect. Sure, it's an extra expense, but it's something that you have then to know that you won't be miserable. You won't be stuck in the middle of a park, halfway through your day, realizing that you're just too tired to keep going. It's really, something to consider. And, we've got folks who are used to using canes and, moving quite a bit, and that's fine. But just know, yes, it's concrete, but sometimes you're on a little bit more of an uneven path. And, sometimes you're walking, up and down, from different locations if you're trying to get around people. If you're in a scooter, you just go. People get out of your way.
Yeah.
So
watch out for the scooters too. So scooters are available in the parks, so you can get them right inside the parks and have them for the day, and you're returning them before you leave. There's also a lot of companies that will rent them for the duration of your stay. So again, I know we have, clients who say, we know for sure we want one.
Right.
I don't know if we want one. I don't think anyone ever says, oh, shoot, we shouldn't have gotten it. Again, ease, and it depends again on the person's abilities and things like that. But to be able to have that from start of your day at your room for the duration of the day can make all the difference as well. So
Absolutely.
for the whole group too. So know that option is available as well, and something to really think about. Because again, the walking, if you just know that could be really hard on someone, or they just physically can't do that, there's ways of getting around that. You just need to be prepared for that.
Right.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you alluded to, having some things in a stroller, and the same thing with scooters. It's really nice to have those places to put things. But when you do go on rides, I recommend taking everything with you. I mean, there's stroller parking. It's still public parking. Yes, you're at Disney World or Universal, but you still never know. I mean, it's not common, but things do walk away, sadly. Even food squirrels have stolen things, popcorn buckets and things like that, snacks. And so it's worth just bringing your bag with you, especially because you can, at Disney, you can bring your bag on all of the rides with you. And so you are in great shape with that. And so I know a lot of folks like to leave things in strollers, but I've heard enough stories where it's worth just making sure that you are bringing that with you on rides.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish I had a stroller now when I go to the parks, not just to put all our stuff. I'm such an overpacker that we'll talk about bags too, but I remembered having beach towels in there and shoes.
I like to be a minimalist. So why don't we talk about our park bags? I like to be a minimalist, and I still end up with a full drawstring.
You do, but you say you have a little of everything. Yes. Anyone who knows me knows I am gifted at overpacking. We all have our skill sets. I was pre-children, and I think I started traveling with my kids to Disney, but my oldest, who will be 17, he took his first flight at 3 weeks old. So, or no, 2 months old, my younger other one, but regardless, really young. And we flew so much. So I was always terrified of getting stuck on the tarmac, like getting stuck. You heard this horror story. So I still to this day fill my bag with everything. So I am a backpack person. And I will say, I need to add it to the store. It was right here. I just bought one recently, and you bought a cool one the other day too, which I'm excited to see how that works too. I feel better knowing I have everything with me, but this backpack, I found it on Amazon. I will drop it in the link, but really lightweight, holds a lot, isn't too wide and bulky. But I mean, think of the essentials you'd need, and we can rattle those off in terms of extra chargers and cords and sunscreen and those kind of things. But just all the little things you might not think about. And if you have them, you won't need them.
Right.
So I'm a backpack person. I know some people who go, I'm going to try a fanny pack at Universal.
Are you?
I mean, I say that now.
Yeah. I don't even like to carry a purse. Like in real life, if I can get away with just putting things in my pockets, then I don't want it.
I'm a big purse person. Shocking.
I have the smallest crossbody bag. I don't want to have to carry anything with me. I just don't like to. But at the parks, I feel like I like to wear my contacts, but my eyes get dry really fast. And so I always, have my glasses and, some contact solution, just because I never know. And I'm seeing is really important to me, and I can't see without those things. But you're right. I think a charger. I try to have a really small charger with me all the time in the parks because we use our phones so much. And because, especially at Disney, but somewhat at Universal too, you are reliant on their apps for, for different things, including mobile ordering. And at Disney, you're using it quite a bit for Genie Plus if you're using that, or looking for ride times. And again, checking into dining reservations, use the app all the time. So I always need to plug it in at some point in time during the day. Sunglasses, like to have sunglasses, hand sanitizer, extra hair bands. Ponchos, usually, we'll have a poncho, or, I've got a raincoat that sometimes I'll just put around my waist again, because I don't want to have too much with me. But sometimes it's not a bad idea to bring a midi deodorant if you feel like you need to freshen up. We have baby wipes a lot, small things, baby wipes to kind of clean up. Because it's a long day and sometimes you just feel really smarmy.
I do all of that. I do a little bag of like a spray perfume or something like that, where you can just spritz yourself and just feel
Right.
it gets later in the day for sure. The one thing I'll say about glasses is the glasses case sets off the security screen
Right.
thing. So just be aware of that. Doesn't mean you can't. You can either move it to those soft-sided ones or just know that might set it off if they say what's in here. Shoot, it's
Yeah. And metal water bottles do too. So, and umbrellas. And so if you do have those, what I've learned to do now is I just, take it out and you just hold it right in front of you as you walk through, and then they can see that's what it is. But that's a really good point, because all of the hard-sided glasses cases set it off.
You can bring food and drinks in. So, I mean, you can do your reusable bottles. You can, freeze some disposable ones and bring ones you throw away, snacks, things like that. You can bring all of those things. So I'm a huge fan of Ziploc bags. My mom would be proud of me saying that right now. So Ziplocs with your different things, or something gets soaked, you can throw it in there. If you're traveling with young ones, obviously you are bringing that full diaper bag of many an outfit and all the things you would do on a normal outing, and just almost times two. You just never know that you'll need all those things as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan. We usually bring a couple portable chargers as well. Again, it all depends how fast your phone battery dies, but also if you're going to be in the parks all day. There are charging stations throughout the parks as well, but you're not always at those when you need it, kind of thing. So having those items in there is really important. And if you are a contact, where I am as well, I always bring, I don't do this everywhere, but I'll bring a couple extra pairs just because you just never know. Once you're in there, you want to stay and not have to leave for something like that too.
Yeah. Well, and Stephanie mentioned in the chat, EpiPens. If you need to use EpiPens, we have them for my daughter as well. So you're always going to have a bag for those, because you definitely want to have those with you in the parks, but also other medications. Again, I was just reminded by reading that. I'm like, oh yeah, I always bring, some ibuprofen, or I'll go to the gas station before we go and buy the little individual packages sometimes of whatever, of acetaminophen or something like that, because they're easier than, carrying a whole bottle and just having them in the bags. We also bring safety pins. What else do we, I think about all of those little things that you don't realize you need until you need. But yeah, having some type of painkillers is a really good idea.
Yes, those for sure. For sure. The other good carrier for those, they have the like M&Ms come in them sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Those, you can like put ibuprofen in those, you can repurpose them. Some people don't love the taste of water at Disney. So if you are someone who likes flavored water, or just knows that would be more palatable for you or your kiddos, packing the little packets of flavored, whatever scent. You can tell I'm tired today.
Like a lemonade or a light, or yeah.
And there's the ones that are almost like those energy ones, like runners use them and things like that.
Yeah, the non-cabs I bring sometimes. Yeah.
So those
that's a good point, because especially the water fountain water, not good. So I always tend to go to the quick service restaurants, and if we're eating there for a meal, especially, I'll ask for several cups of water. Water's free. If you get it from the quick service, it's filtered water, because it's the same water that they're using for like the lemonade mix, and all that good stuff. And so I'll just fill up my water bottle and be sure to do that there. But every once in a while, in a pinch, I am filling it up at a water fountain, and it's kind of a no.
Yeah, my kids call it swampy, but I don't know.
I don't know. It tastes mineral.
Pond water. And the reason they say that is because we were eating at Whispering Canyon Cafe. If any of you have ever eaten there, which I
love, yeah.
And the server brought out, he's like, I got you pond water. Obviously, it wasn't pond water. All three of my kids are like, it tastes like pond water. But I mean, it's not as crisp as obviously a water, but yeah, free water. So if you are ordering a meal, say even you're getting a soda or something else with it, ask for a cup of water. Like we would do that every time, and we'd refill our water bottles, and we had those for the day. So those bring one for everyone, and they're all in our backpacks as well, or whomever is carrying bags, because you just stay hydrated. because that is, again, a really vicious cycle, especially if you're coming from a climate where you're not as used to the humidity. Those baby wipes, like we're talking about, sunscreen, all of those things. I keep baseball caps or visors for us. Again, I could live in the parks for a few days based on the amount of things we bring. But you never know. Like my daughter was just like, I can't see anything. I don't want to wear sunglasses. She ended up wearing a visor all day in October. She doesn't normally do that. But if you're someone who likes sunglasses or you just want to make sure you have all of those things with you for sure. And make sure your name is on the bag. Put a luggage tag on there.
Yes.
Put a tag that's really clear that it's yours for some reason if you were to set it down or anything like that. And that goes for strollers. That goes for everything. Make sure you are.
Right. It's easy to get distracted and to think someone else picked up the bag, in your party or whatever, and then realize, oh, I left it on the ride, or I left it wherever. I thought someone else grabbed it. And then all of a sudden you're without it. And, hopefully someone picked it up and brought it to the front of the park. But yeah, it's great if it's got your contact information on it, really easy to see.
And one thing too, we learned, again, you think I had little kids now. My teenagers are getting worse about this. When we get off a ride, I would always say, do you have everything?
Mm-hmm.
My youngest likes wearing a hat because the sun bugs him. And we were on Goofy's roller coaster. And he had stuffed it in that little pocket, which is great, but forgot it. So they're always good about checking the rides and they're pulling everything off. But it's a lot easier to go back in then and ask rather than you're across the park then and asking. So just making sure, do you have everything? Because as the day goes on, Disney, Universal, it doesn't matter. You are tired. You can't remember a lot. So you are remembering all those things too.
Well, and I guess I think another packing tip that I always forget about until the last minute or until I'm there or wish I would have remembered is to bring extra sunglasses. Buy cheap sunglasses, bring cheap sunglasses, because I don't think that we've been on a trip where someone didn't destroy or lose their sunglasses. And then you're in, you're in the parks and you want a pair of sunglasses, or you're in the resort and they're $20, $25 for just
I always bring 2 pairs. I always have an extra pair in my bag.
Yeah. I don't, I try to always bring an extra pair with me, but someone forgets, just bring cheap sunglasses from home, from the dollar store or something, someplace where you can pick up a pair, especially if you don't have, if you have prescription sunglasses, you guard those with your life,
right?
Because they're so easy to misplace. But yeah, that's one thing that I've learned the hard way a bunch of times is, I don't want to spend all of my souvenir money on sunglasses.
Oh, no. And you always forget the most obvious things too. Mm-hmm. That's just like, just drives me crazy. I've had to buy sunglasses at Disney. Yeah. And they're never what you really want, but you don't have a choice. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Bring lots of extras.
Right. Right. Well, I was thinking too earlier, and I meant to mention this, I digress, but going back to the shoes thing is that we tend to bring a lot of shoes. And one of my pet peeves is having shoes all over the room floor. It's like, put your shoes away. So one thing that we bring every time is a shoe carrier, like one of those that you can hang up. They're collapsible, really easy to pack. We bought one at Target, I don't know, however many years ago, and it comes with us on every family trip. And you just hang it up in the closet and all of the shoes go nice and neat in that space. And I don't have to worry about tripping over the room in the middle of the night when I have to go to the bathroom or something, or just I'm tired and cranky because, you're in a, cramped hotel room with children.
Yeah.
So, things all over the floor is my pet peeve, and shoes really gets me.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen people use that also for other things too. So whether you're keeping your sunscreen or your, toiletry, like whatever it is, you can use it in a lot of different ways. That's a good point. Maybe because my kids are hangry a lot. I always have snacks and mints and things like that in my bag. Always, like a granola bar, just things that won't necessarily melt or get gross in the bag, but I always make sure I have a few things, or gum or something where they might need a little pick me up and maybe you're in line or something like that. That's always something I think
Right. Well, and you mentioned gum. So on Disney World property, you can't buy gum. So if you like to chew gum, you have to bring it with you. It's not possible to purchase on property, and very smartly, because who wants to be cleaning that up off of, off of
I
everything?
know.
So,
I think there's always people who are like, you have that light bulb moment. You're like, oh my word, you don't see any on the ground.
nope. Right.
I'm sure
Or
there's
on
lots
the
of places
seats,
that wish.
or I mean, all those places where you normally have that. And yeah, in other parts of your life, you don't have to worry about it. Under the tables, I mean,
I know. I don't even think about it because you're so used to not seeing
right.
it, but
Right.
no, that's really true. Or hard mint, anything like that. I don't know. I mean, yeah. Sanitizer right now, like hand sanitizer, things like
Extra
that. Those are
masks.
the
Yeah.
little ones or the disposable ones or the ones hooked onto your bag. That's always good too. But again, just think about what maybe you use on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And you really, again, the more you bring with you, just less to worry about as well. But you do want to think about those basics or, okay, Band-Aids and Neosporin in a little bag. And like I always have my little toiletry stuff and the other things we need. And yeah, it does get, well, and I will say this too, as it gets cooler in the evening, having a long sleeve shirt or having a layer of some sort.
Right.
I always do that too, especially if you're not going to take a break and maybe come back, or, you're visiting at perhaps a cooler time, or depending on the park you're visiting. I mean, having that extra layer with you can
Right.
really save you as well.
Yeah. Another thing that occurred to me is, I talked about having some medications with you, and you said Band-Aids. You can always get those at first aid. I've ended up at first aid when I didn't have anything with me and I had a raging headache, and they had, I want to say it was, like a generic Excedrin migraine or something like that. And they have you sign, obviously that you accept responsibility for taking your Excedrin migraine. They also have feminine products. So if something happens and you're not prepared, they,
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's
things
very
happen.
true.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so first aid is at the ready. I mean, you can ask anyone as well, if that's a minor or something, or yeah, that's a great point too. You shouldn't have to suffer through. There's
Right.
ways of
Right.
fixing that. And all those basic things you can find in your resort, hotel, in the lobby area, the gift shop, throughout the parks as well. But it's just like when you're at the airport, it's kind of, you're stuck with what they have. So
And you're paying about 3 times as much for it as you would at home.
Yes.
That being said, sometimes I prepare for that in the budget too. Like, I don't want to carry everything with me. I don't necessarily feel like I want to have a whole bag of snacks. If that means I'm going to spend way too much money on a pretzel and a soda, because salty stuff I think is really helpful on a hot day. And I just do that because it's fun.
Yeah.
And, we'll go to the confectionery and get some sweets for, eat a whole lot more sugar than we do in, in normal life. But, it's part of the fun too. So to me, it's the balance. I want to have a granola bar or something in case someone's angry and we end up in a long line. But I definitely budget around having some of those fun snacks too in the parks.
Oh, it's true. And I think that's where Ziplocs can come in handy too.
Yes.
Because maybe some of those treats are huge.
Right.
Amazing. But maybe you're not going to have it all. So if you can have somewhere you can tuck it and it's a late night snack when you get back or sometime later, that's always nice as well.
I know. I'm scrolling through my list. I have a whole list of.
What about your scissors? What are the little scissors you bring?
So that's a good question. So, several years ago, I accidentally flew with little kid safety scissors in my carry-on bag. And I'm usually very careful. I don't put anything sharp at all. I don't want anything to be taken away from me. And I realize that no one cares. They're the really shorty, they're still metal, but they're safety scissors and they're not pointed. And so I bring those little scissors with me everywhere. From when the kids were little, I've flown internationally several times. They go through every security. I've never, ever, ever, and I don't even know how many dozens of flights, gotten stopped because of those safety scissors. So if you are, walking through the, school supply aisle and you walk past the little preschool safety scissors, grab a pair of those. We use them on every single trip. I mean, of course we're going to buy something and someone's going to want to take the tag off and whatever, but you just never know. So that's a good point. Those safety scissors are wonderful. And so, yeah, the kids know exactly where they are. They're in the same place in my bag every time. And so we always have those there.
Yeah. So that was an interesting tip. Yeah, I forgot when you said that. I'm like,
good point.
Really? Yeah. That you could actually take it as your carry-on and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can. I mean, like I said, I've flown with them internationally multiple times, no issues anywhere. So,
right. Yeah. So again, Universal, you can really do a lot of the same things. However, Universal is not as, their policy is different in terms of taking bags on rides, especially because they have a lot more high intense rides. They have a lot of upside down rides, things like that. So for those, you're not allowed to have anything on you, and you actually go through a metal detector before you are getting on those. So, I mean, no sneaking your phone on or anything like that. It's a safety issue, really. So there are lockers available, but they are not my bag that I normally would not probably fit in. So you will see people with smaller bags.
Right.
Or again, if you're not riding those big rides, it's not an issue, of course. But if you are, you want to be able to not have to worry about that or wait to maybe get a locker sometimes. So they do allow you to keep on the fanny packs if they have the 3-prong clip as well. Who would have thought we ever would have been talking about that again? We'll see if I manage. I might be able to.
Yeah,
but again, that's really secured to you so that you're allowed to keep on you. But other bags, you are not. Again.
Yeah, and those lockers are really small because again, I don't travel heavy and I've had to, move things around. Or if you're at Universal and you buy a wand and you have your wand and the box and everything else, you kind of have to take everything out and you can still put it in one of those little lockers, but it takes up a lot of the space in there. Universal also has refillable cups that you can get in the parks. Clearly they have to be empty before you put them in, but you even kind of have to shove those suckers in and squeeze them a little bit. But yeah, we've tried to do that all. And again, I don't love to carry a bag, but we always do because of EpiPens. But if you are a very light traveler, if you can travel with a lanyard, have most of what you need in your lanyard, and then maybe have like a jacket with a zipper pocket or something, then, that's probably your best bet to get through things, because there's not always, but there's often a line to go into the locker areas. And so if you get antsy in those situations, just plan. That's going to take you a little bit longer to get in and out. But the important part about having a lanyard is that your key is what, your ticket is what will give you access to those lockers. And so you always have to have that on you to get the locker open and then to get it, to put your stuff in and then to get your stuff out. And so you always, always, always have to have your ticket on you, even if everything else goes into the locker.
Great point too. And there are lockers at Disney as well. And we should say that. So if there are those water rides or things like that, there's lots of options for storing your things too. But Universal, you just have to think about it a little, I would say a little more, again, the nature of what you're riding.
Right. Well, and they do have bigger lockers. So the small ones by the rides are free for a certain length of time, but the larger lockers you always have to pay for. And so if you're going to go on water rides or be prepared for that, especially at Islands of Adventure, there are some rides where you get really wet. Like, you only have to learn that lesson one time to get that wet. But
it can feel good on a really hot day, but otherwise.
Even then, when I ended up in the bathroom, like wringing my shirt out into the toilet because I was so wet.
It's always
I would have had to change of clothes. My
kids don't even get it. It misses them, and then I'm getting off like wet rat. Like
never experienced that before that Bluto water ride. That was something else.
Ponchos.
Yeah, I wish I would have.
I judge the people who wear ponchos on the
Oh
water.
yes.
Heavily. And then it's karma because then I get off.
Right. Yeah. So Universal, not a bad idea to have a poncho with you.
I will be. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get a poncho in there too. I don't know.
I know.
And ponchos, I will say, I pick them up at the dollar store. I always have some, I tell clients, or I give them to clients too, but just that way you can use them to cover your stroller sometimes if you don't have a stroller cover. I mean, even to have
you can sit on them. Yeah.
Sit on them. Absolutely. Because that's so common in Florida that you'll have these storms roll through and then it will clear out again. So sometimes, again, feels refreshing, but to have that and those take up like no room in your bag. So it's so worth having.
Yeah. And I know recently they upped the price on ponchos. And they used to be $10. I thought $10. Okay. I'll spend $40 on a branded poncho that I'm going to wear, whatever.
Right. And they're thicker than
they're like $17 now. So they're really expensive now. Yeah. Bring your ponchos. Bring them. Bring them with you.
Whatever kind you want to bring.
Right.
Or a light rain jacket. There's so many rain jackets that are, really thin and you can get those in there, but definitely you want to make sure you don't want to have your trip ruined because you're soaking wet.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, another packing tip, just not necessarily park related, but big picture is that if you're flying, we normally have had really good luck with luggage, with checked luggage, but you just never know. And so you should always, always have your medications on you in a carry-on bag. I always bring my underwear in a carry-on bag. Even if I feel like I can rewear some of the things that I'm, wearing as far as shorts or whatever, I just want to have a change of clothes for everybody in a carry-on just in case.
I do that. And my swimsuit.
Right.
Really, what else do you need? Underwear and your swimsuit.
Right.
I was flying to Florida last month and there was a woman next to me. She was trying to get to Jamaica and our flights were all late and, I had a crazy travel day, but she ended up making her. I said, well, really? She was, I don't know if my bag will make it. But I said, well, don't you have your swimsuit? She's like, no. I'm like,
I know.
I still travel like that. I'll have an extra something. I always make sure. Once again, you never know. It's just better to have it, or I will do. My whole family will do make sure everyone has a decent outfit. Right.
Yeah. I always have flip flops or, some really small thin sandals or whatever, just something in that bag. So not a ton, but just enough
to get you through.
Right. Absolutely. And especially, if your luggage is lost and in most cases you're going to get, a sum of money that if the airline can't get your luggage that you can spend on, t-shirts or whatever, that's easy to replace. But, sometimes shorts or again, I don't want to go underwear shopping vacation.
Okay. So, or bathing
suit shopping. That's even worse. You're right.
It's worse. Just make sure you have it in your carry-on. We'll do a post about that this week. We haven't done it in a while, and there's always great. Everyone kind of chimes in with great things they wish they had, and even footwear, things like that. So.
But nail clippers and floss; those are two other things I forgot to mention that I always carry with me.
Nail clippers?
Yeah, nail clippers. Don't
in your park bag?
Oh yeah. I break nails everywhere I go, and then I don't want to be sitting there hungry.
I pack an emery board.
Do you? Well, yeah, see, that's something. But then, and floss. I hate
floss.
That feeling. If you eat something and then you're just picking at it, and I don't want to be that person picking at.
No, I do those. The little individual flossers.
Right. Yep.
Basically, if I was on Let's Make a Deal, I could win every time. That is how much stuff I have.
Yeah.
The two of us. Sure.
Oh, we'd be fine because I would have almost nothing except for.
And it would be nice and organized.
My nail clippers and a credit card and a Disney gift card when I'm at Disney. And my phone and a phone charger. Yeah.
Yep. Basics. Just the basics.
Yeah. But the truth is, I think the nice thing to remember is that you can bring lots into both of the parks, really, as long as it's not alcohol and not, food in a glass container, then you can pretty much bring things in. No hard-sided coolers. But yeah, bring whenever you are willing to carry, or again, there are lockers. There are lockers out front of the parks and in different locations. So if you just want to know you have it there, it doesn't hurt. Stephanie says she always has super glue. I don't always have super glue.
For what?
I know.
For
Now
your
I need to
sole?
know.
The sole of your shoe?
Comment. What's the super glue for, Stephanie?
Your nail?
I don't know. Now I need to know. You're gonna have to email me.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let us know. Duct tape too?
Or we should. Oh, duct tape's not a bad idea.
If
There
we
have been
get to that
times
point,
when like
it's time to
luggage
go.
has been an issue, and
That's true. We could talk
we
about
should
luggage.
post on this too in the Facebook group and see what other thoughts people have there, or if they like to, pack heavy or pack light or bring things with them or not. So
Right.
super glue for paper cuts. What? Now we need to talk.
I've heard that before.
No.
All right,
But I
Stephanie,
do
you have
get
to drop
paper
that in the
cuts
Facebook group
all
and
the
explain
time.
that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to hear more about that.
All
I love
right. Wrap it up with that. See, this is why we have this community. We don't know everything. Yeah.
No. I love it. I'm like, now my wheels are turning. Like, what else am I forgetting that I should have?
There's a, for sure.
Good stuff. I know. Well, I mean, I can't believe we filled the hour.
I know.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, gosh. I'm trying to think if there's anything that, major that we forgot, but I think that that's, where we are today. Thanks so much for being involved and for watching. Again, please be sure to hit the like button and on all of the videos. So, keep an eye on the videos that we are posting, usually a new video up every Friday. And take a look at the playlists that we have. I try to have the room tours and resort tours for different places in the playlist and interesting things about the parks and how-to videos and all that good stuff. So if you're finding any of that useful, please share it with, friends and family and other folks who might be interested in those pieces. If you're not already subscribed, also please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. And the bell icon will let you know when we go live or post new content. And so that'll just give you a reminder that, we've got something new up for you. But thanks so much for being part of the conversation. Thanks for being part of our communities. Oh, you Chamberlain family, I love. I love hearing from you.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks so